Many people might wonder about this question. What happens to human consciousness when life comes to an end? Does the end of life signify the end of everything? Do humans truly have a soul? On October 6, 2020, mathematician and physicist Roger Penrose was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for his observations and research on black hole theory. However, he is also considered one of the most controversial Nobel laureates. The reason lies in his exploration of a topic often deemed taboo in the scientific community: the existence of the soul. Penrose proposed that the soul exists and that, after death, it leaves the body and returns to the universe in a quantum state. Hi, I'm Pink Woody. Let's take a different perspective on the world together. Today, we're delving into the topic of the quantum state of the soul. Speaking of the soul, we can't avoid addressing a fundamental question. What is life? What defines life? Over the 13.7 billion years since the universe was born, countless phenomena have emerged, but none are more complex and mysterious than life itself. So, what is life? From a biological perspective, life refers to an entity capable of growth, reproduction, and metabolism through the exchange of matter and energy with its surroundings, while also adapting to environmental changes and responding to stimuli. The world is composed of matter, and everything within it, including life, is made up of material substances. To many, life consists of microscopic components such as cells, genes, and DNA. However, this understanding is not entirely accurate. The core of life is consciousness. What is consciousness? Like dark matter, it is a mysterious entity we cannot see or touch. Every living being possesses some degree of consciousness, whether animals, plants, or simpler organisms like bacteria and viruses, to more advanced life forms like humans. The difference lies in the strength of their consciousness. Plants and bacteria have very weak consciousness, while more complex animals exhibit stronger consciousness. Humans, as advanced intelligent beings, possess the most profound and complex consciousness. As the only advanced intelligent species on Earth, humans have a consciousness that is not only powerful, but also shrouded in countless unknowns. Living organisms can be seen as a combination of visible matter and invisible, mysterious consciousness. For instance, humans are intelligent beings composed of a visible physical body and an unseen yet enigmatic consciousness. Regardless of form, all life is bound by a universal principle: the cycle of birth, aging, illness, and death. Even advanced intelligent beings like humans are, from the moment of birth, on a journey toward eventual decline. As humanity entered the age of technology, our exploration of life's mysteries deepened. Equipped with powerful tools, scientists have gradually sought to unravel the enigma of life. Among these efforts is Roger Penrose's theory of quantum consciousness. Roger Penrose, a British mathematician and physicist, holds a doctorate from Cambridge University and is an honorary professor at Oxford University. He was also a close friend of Stephen Hawking. Penrose introduced the concept of a singularity, a point of infinite density and zero volume. His calculations revealed that the collapse of a massive star leads to the formation of a singularity, a black hole. Building on this idea, Hawking suggested that our universe might have originated from such a singularity, a theory known as the Penrose theorem. It was this groundbreaking discovery that earned Penrose the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2020. Subsequently, he ventured into more controversial territory, suggesting that the human soul persists in a quantum state. In 1989, Penrose published a book titled The Emperor's New Mind. In it, he argued that no matter how advanced artificial intelligence becomes, it can never surpass a human being in one crucial aspect: intuition. This intuition, he explained, is akin to the soul or consciousness. According to Penrose, artificial intelligence operates purely through logical computation and can never escape its mechanical nature. In contrast, consciousness exists only within a quantum system. But how does the human brain generate consciousness? Penrose proposed that within the brain, numerous electrons exist in a state of quantum entanglement. Each time these electrons collapse, they generate various thoughts and ideas. It is through the continuous collapse and re-entanglement of these electrons that what we call the soul or consciousness arises. Up to this point, Penrose's theory still sounds relatively scientific. However, his further elaboration on the soul takes on a distinctly mysterious tone. He claims that when a life ends, the soul does not disappear. The quantum information within it remains intact and leaves the body to return to the universe. This explanation closely resembles the concept of the soul in mythology. Simply put, it suggests that the soul continues to exist within the universe. If this theory holds, it introduces a great deal of uncertainty about our universe. If the soul is immortal, then where does it go after death? Before diving into Penrose's perspective, let's take a look at how scientists throughout history and in modern times have approached the concept of the soul. The quest to measure the soul's earliest scientific exploration of the soul dates back to the weighing of the soul experiment. In 1901, Dr. Duncan McDougall, a surgeon, conducted an experiment to measure the soul. He hypothesized that if the soul leaves the body upon death, measuring the difference in weight before and after death might reveal the soul's weight. Using this hypothesis, McDougall leveraged his position as a surgeon to recruit patients willing to participate in his experiment. In 1901, he selected 6 terminally ill patients from a nursing home as test subjects. 4 had tuberculosis, 1 had diabetes, and 1 had an unknown illness. As they approached the end of their lives, these patients were placed on a specially designed bed equipped with precise measuring devices. The first test lasted for 3 hours and 40 minutes. During this period, the subject lost about 28 grams per hour due to normal bodily processes like fluid evaporation and sweat. However, as death drew near, the subject's weight suddenly dropped by 21 grams in just a few seconds. This abrupt change couldn't be explained by normal metabolic processes. Could this be the weight of the soul? McDougall then conducted the same experiment on the remaining 5 subjects. Unfortunately, the results were inconsistent. In some cases, weight continued to drop even after brain death. For instance, one subject lost approximately 73 grams after death, and the weight stabilized only 15 minutes later. This led to questions. Was it a flaw in the measuring device? McDougall couldn't provide a clear explanation. Later, he extended his experiments to animals and found something surprising. Dogs showed no weight loss after death. Based on this observation, he concluded that humans have souls while animals do not. He estimated the weight of the human soul to be around 21 grams. In 1907, the New York Times published McDougall's findings, which caused a sensation but also attracted widespread criticism. Scholars pointed out several flaws in his methodology and data. For instance, some argued that the sudden rise in body temperature at the moment of death could lead to increased sweat evaporation, causing a sudden drop in weight. The reason dogs showed no weight change could be attributed to their lack of sweat glands. Perhaps driven by dissatisfaction with the criticism, McDougall conceived a bold new idea. He abandoned the weighing experiment and attempted to photograph the soul leaving the body. He speculated that if the soul truly departs the body at the moment of death, it might be captured through special imaging techniques. He experimented with X-rays to capture this moment, but unfortunately, he achieved no results before his death. In 1939, a Soviet technician named Semyon Kurlian, along with his wife, extended McDougall's experiments. To photograph the soul, they believed it was essential to understand what the soul is. If the soul has color, it could be captured using special light. If it has temperature, infrared cameras might detect it. But what if it has none of these properties? Kurlian turned his focus to energy. He developed a technique for photographing biological energy fields, later named Kurlian photography. In 1997, Western European scientist Konstantin Korotkov improved on Kurlian photography and conducted a photographic experiment on dying patients. His images revealed that during the process of death, blue particles seemed to leave the body gradually. Korotkov speculated that this blue light represented the soul. However, Korotkov's findings were quickly questioned. Critics argued that Kirlian photography itself has significant flaws, and the blue particles were likely just water and heat escaping from the body. To this day, most experiments attempting to prove the existence of the soul have failed. Consequently, many scientists argue that the soul or consciousness cannot exist independently. For example, Francis Crick, the 1962 Nobel Laureate in physiology or medicine, also studied consciousness. He believed that consciousness resides within neurons and is a unique phenomenon formed during the brain's developmental process. To date, this remains one of the more widely accepted explanations in medical science. Does this mean that consciousness completely disappears after death? Is there no one left to challenge this enigma of the soul? One area of research still ongoing today is the study of near-death experiences, a topic closely tied to Penrose's quantum soul theory. Studying the soul inevitably involves examining life and death. This is why some scientists focus on near-death experiences, NDEs. What are near-death experiences? These refer to the period of unconsciousness between a severe injury and successful resuscitation in a hospital. Through extensive interviews with patients who have experienced NDEs, scientists discovered that many reported extraordinary and strikingly similar experiences during their unconsciousness. This phenomenon is known as a near-death experience. For instance, some patients described feeling their consciousness leave their body, reviewing their life, or even seeing deceased loved ones. The most peculiar aspect is that nearly all of them reported an out-of-body experience. This raises intriguing questions. Why do patients from vastly different backgrounds report such similar experiences? How do these experiences arise? This remains one of the greatest challenges in ND research. Penrose's explanation ties NDs to quantum mechanics. He proposed that NDs occur due to a program within the brain's quantum computer, which persists even after death and continues to exist in the universe. In other words, Penrose suggested that the soul is a quantum entity. Once it leaves the body, it returns to the universe. This might sound abstract, but it aligns with the principles of quantum mechanics. One concept in quantum mechanics is the superposition state, where a quantum particle can exist simultaneously in multiple states. Penrose believed that this superposition state mirrors the nature of human consciousness. So, could consciousness or the soul also exist in such a quantum state? In 1994, Harvard University published a research finding that identified a structure in the human brain called microtubules. These structures are widely distributed among neurons in the brain, functioning like electrical wires. Microtubules were found to exhibit properties akin to quantum superposition. This means that consciousness not only resides in the brain, but also partly exists in some corner of the universe. Later, Roger Penrose became involved in this research. Together with Stuart Hameroff, the director of the Center for Consciousness Studies at the University of Arizona and a professor of psychology and anesthesiology, Penrose proposed the theory of orchestrated objective reduction. In simple terms, this theory suggests that the soul or consciousness exists in the microtubules within the brain in a quantum state. When a person dies, the microtubules lose their quantum state, but the quantum information in the brain is not destroyed. Instead, this quantum information floats away and disperses into the universe. During near-death experiences, when a person regains consciousness, the microtubules return to their quantum state, and the lost quantum information ray enters the brain. At this point, individuals often describe having gone through an extraordinary near-death experience. Essentially, this experience is the process of quantum consciousness venturing into the universe. Penrose believes that if we interpret it this way, then human consciousness doesn't vanish after death, but instead travels to some part of the universe. This explanation closely mirrors the mythological concept of the soul. Therefore, it could loosely be defined as the soul. However, Penrose himself did not explicitly equate quantum consciousness with the traditional idea of the soul, only noting their striking similarity. It must be acknowledged that the notion of the soul existing within the universe is a concept that aligns with metaphysical consensus. Yet, This idea has also made Penrose a target of criticism from certain parts of the scientific community. Some scholars have pointed out that the cerebellum also contains a large number of microtubules. However, people with cerebellar injuries often exhibit normal consciousness, leading to the question, does the soul exist solely in the brain? This has fueled ongoing debates about the theory of orchestrated objective reduction, which has since been labeled as quantum soul. While some dismiss it as pseudoscience, others are deeply convinced by it. Does the soul truly exist? This brings us to the dimensional theories proposed by other scientists. In his exploration of consciousness, physicist Edward Witten suggested that the universe consists of multiple dimensions, with 11 dimensions in total. Humans live in a three-dimensional world, but for life forms in higher dimensions, entering lower dimensions might be impossible in physical form. Instead, they might manifest as consciousness. Some scientists speculate that every individual's soul might be a projection of a higher dimensional being into our current dimension. But why would these higher dimensional souls descend to our lower dimensional world? In our three-dimensional world, every being possesses consciousness. If this consciousness is merely a projection from higher dimensions, what motivates these higher dimensional entities to come here? Some scientists hypothesize that higher dimensional consciousness might not belong to a specific biological entity, but rather represents a universal law, a fundamental principle governing the operation of the universe. If this is true, it could explain why higher dimensional consciousness would risk entering our three-dimensional world. It is part of their mission, an intrinsic duty as universal laws. This idea reminds us of ancient belief in reincarnation, which has been passed down through generations. Reincarnation is seen as a natural law. When a life ends, its soul leaves the body, enters a cycle of rebirth, and begins anew. If this is the case, the end of life does not signify an absolute end. For consciousness, every ending could be a new beginning. If this seemingly absurd hypothesis were proven correct, in the future, death might no longer evoke such fear. The mysteries of consciousness may one day be unraveled by science. Only by understanding the secrets of consciousness can humanity truly comprehend the essence of life. Perhaps, at that point, humans may even unlock the key to eternal life. Yet, even if the end of life does not mean the end of existence, all that we experience in this lifetime will inevitably be left behind. For this reason, we must cherish life and live fully in the present. I'm Pink Woody, a new YouTuber. See you in the next video.